Welcome to AI Powered Career Edge, where we explore how AI is shaping careers and how professionals can stay ahead. Sohil, I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to talk. And I'm really excited about our conversation. Specifically, I'm excited because you're going to present an engineer's point of view. We talk about developers a lot, but an engineer, engineers keep platforms running seamlessly and really support the infrastructure around development. So, really excited uh, to have you on this episode. Welcome.
Thanks, Yousuf. Thanks for the opportunity. Really excited to be part of this series of podcast, and hopefully, there's something that everyone gains from this, whoever is listening, and has something positive to contribute towards their day-to-day life.
I'm sure that people get a lot out of this, given your background. Speaking of which, so he'll tell us a little about your background. I know engineer. You look at your LinkedIn profile. You've done some tremendous things, but in your own words, where do you come from in terms of your expertise, and what is your specialty now?
Sure. So most of my experience has been working as a software engineer throughout my career. So I started out working at a bank, and I started out as a junior developer there, leveled up to a senior engineer, and then from there, I had an opportunity during the COVID to work for a social media company called TikTok. Worked in the WebRTC space, and basically spent a couple of years working on building their global platform and then making that compliant for the US users. From there, there was a whole AI wave kicking off, and I wanted to focus on some AI initiatives, and that was one of the interest areas that I had, and started looking for opportunities in that domain, and eventually landed up in PayPal, which is where I am as a software engineer right now. I work in a unique environment, like we are part of the reliability and site engineering team. And one of the things we are doing is the team already has a lot of tools that they had built over the years, but now they're trying to add a layer of artificial intelligence that can help them prevent incidents, detect them, and reduce the time it takes to mitigate an incident, those kind of things. And we are building some amazing agents that can help us do some of those work.
Yeah. Um, Tell me about when you were first introduced to AI, not in the news, but at work. What did that look and feel like?
Honestly, it was intimidating to begin with. It felt a lot like a research thing because there were a lot of new buzzwords which I hadn't heard of before, even after having a decade of software engineering experience. The AI that I was aware of was very limited from my academic background, which was mostly like some networks, some decision trees, and then you add a classifier on top of it, and then figure out, how a specific data set is designed, and you classify put it into specific buckets, and then try to have that was called artificial intelligence back then. This new stream of intelligence that we are seeing right now is a completely different concept from what we had ever seen before, and that's one of the reasons why initially it was extremely intimidating and seemed like a fairly specialized initiative or a field for me. But as I progressed through this journey, I have realized that the research part of it is one area of thing that most of the big companies and the frontier models are focusing on, and that is already the part of the heavy lifting which is done by them. The consumption part, and the part where we want to utilize these frontier models to figure out use cases in our day-to-day lives where we can embed them. That is the part that is another challenge, and that is the part that everyone is also focusing on right now, and which is what PayPal is also focusing on right now.
So, the research part, tell me a little bit more about what that means.
So if you think about LLM, they have like more than a billion parameters that they are trained on. So you think about the infrastructure that is needed to build these frontier LLMs is huge, and the amount of data that is needed to train this LLM is huge. So the amount of engineering effort to build this data pipeline, create the data set, and then train them can take multiple days to multiple weeks, if not hours. And that is a huge initiative for someone in terms of compute, standing up that kind of infrastructure. So you can assume that all the news that we hear about new data centers coming up just for these LLM and AI based use cases is something that is going to explode even more in the future. And it's extremely expensive to do that. On top of that, you need specialized skill sets of people that are working in this field, and that is something that is just going to increase as the time goes on.
So you were intimidated at first, and how did you get over that?
So like everything in engineering, you have to get your hands wet. So you just roll up your sleeves, start doing some initial things. So one of the first things I did was create an MCP server. If you don't know what an MCP server is, think about it as a toolbox which has a bunch of tools in it. And then every time an agent or an LLM has to perform a task, it would come look at the toolbox and it would think about a tool that is best fit for the use case and then use it. If you have to think about this approach in a pre-AI phase, you would have a series of API endpoints, which are a subset of tools that you can use which you can consume to get a task done. But the
Mhm.
thing about APIs was that they had a very strict contract. So you were always in that integration phase, and then migration was always hard to move from one version to the other version and things like that. But the benefit of having MCP is that it figures out, or the large language models that we have right now, it will figure out any gaps in the contracts, and then it will try to use its intelligence to fill those gaps. So that way, the migration is not a heavy part. The tools can evolve over time, and then systems on both sides or the both end of the spectrum can keep running.
And these MCP servers, they're the ones that take a lot of investment to maintain.
No, so MCP on its own is not. It's like an open source stack just for the agents to be able to connect to the tools. It's like a protocol that allows the agents to discover the tools and then execute them. The resource part is running the LLM, the inference part of it. So every
Mhm.
time you prompt an LLM like a ChatGPT or Claude, you would be sending some prompt in. That prompt goes through a tokenizer, and then eventually those tokens are then sent to an inference engine, which you infer the input and then you get an output back, and then those tokens are sent to the tokenizer to give you a text stream back. So this entire
Mm.
process, this entire pipeline is where the resources are needed for running the data source and things like that.
So you got your hands dirty with AI early, and just a few projects you did. Did you go out and ask for those projects, or was it obvious that that's the next thing you're going to do?
In my case, I had to specifically go out and look for a job that was focusing on AI. That is something that
Hmm.
I wanted to do personally, and that was something that I was looking for. Yes, it was hard initially to come up to get opportunities which were already working in that domain without having prior experience.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, it worked out at PayPal, and there was an opportunity for me to come in and start working on those things because they were just starting out that team and they were looking for passionate individuals to learn and grow at the same time and then build these systems for them.
Is that still the case that employers or tech teams are looking for people without experience to come in, get their hands dirty and learn, or are there enough people out there that have experimented with AI that you have people who already have that expertise? Where are we in that whole trajectory?
I don't think there are enough people who are working in AI right now compared to the demand that is created right now in this market. Having said that, if you have good development experience, it's easier for experienced developers to be trained on this. And there are companies who would be willing to invest in that just because of the shortage of talent that is there in the market right now. Uh,
Hmm.
to go and take a chance at a senior developer who would want to be on a AI team and teach them those skills rather than having to wait or interview someone who already has those skills. And it's just a market situation that we are in right now.
And then, do people with what types of people with what type of experience do tech teams look for in terms of bringing someone on and giving them a shot working on AI? Is it data experience? Is it machine learning experience? Is it all of the above, or it doesn't matter? They're just looking for someone willing to learn.
All of the above, because I think with the new infrastructure build that is happening, a lot of the existing software engineering practices themselves are changing. And what that means is there's a lot of initiatives that need to be built from grounds up. So it's not just a layer on top of what the existing infrastructure is, although that is also true in some cases, but it's also a rebuild of a lot of the things. So people who are experienced in machine learning can contribute towards fine tuning of the models. Folks who are experienced with data can help us, create those large data lakes and the vertex, sorry, not vertex, but the RAG databases that are needed for the agents to develop the context. Software engineers can build that agentic layer for most of the agentic part of things and the harnesses that are available out there. So there's a lot
Mm,
of avenues out there. Depending on your skill set, you can always find ways and means to contribute back. So it's not a strictly specific thing or a niche that is needed in order for you to make that switch. I think as long as you have some engineering background, you are connected to the software engineering or any kind of engineering practices, you can definitely make that pivot, and there is always something or the other that anyone can do.
and so your first project, was it more experimental in nature, or was it part of a product that went out to market?
So the first project was experimental. We
Mm,
basically, there was a hard pivot that we wanted to make as an organization, and this came up from the leadership itself. So we put a stop on all the projects that we were working on for the entire organization, and we spent two sprints, not two, maybe one sprint, just focusing on building out all the tools that we need in our MCP server.
mm,
And we just started from there, and there is a group of 50, maybe 60 engineers that contributed to that one single repository in a sprint, and then we developed over 150 tools within that sprint, which built allowed us to build some basic capabilities that we needed for our agents to consume. Because initially, when we started out with these kind of initiatives, we understood that this is a huge project, and for us to make any meaningful contribution, we would need a lot of tools and a lot of infrastructure that needs to be in place, and a small team cannot accomplish that on their own.
mm.
So this needs to be a group effort, and we need to utilize all the bandwidth and all the resources that we have and free them up from all the menial tasks that they're doing and have everyone focus on this initiative, at least for the short run. And then once we get some momentum going, then we can have everyone contribute back as and when needed.
Mm. So your first project was experimental in nature. It sounds like there were a bunch of people working on that, and it's pretty large in scope.
Yep.
Uh, and so, where do you consider yourself now in your journey to learn what AI is, how to harness it, and actually build products with it that'll actually make an impact?
So we actually shipped out a lot of these agents in production at this point. Recently, we also did a demo in Google Next that happened last month. Uh,
Mm,
so our project was one of the featured use case project for because we partner closely with Google, so then that
yeah.
led to the initiative. And then so right now we are in the advanced stage of it. We already are actively leveraging all the AI agents, the MCP tools, everything that is available from the agentic AI ecosystem, and we are building the stack. And now we are in the maturity model of it, where we have some initial agentic stack available to us. Our next step is to enhance it to a point where it can interoperate, work for the broader organization, not just internal teams, and it can be leveraged across the PayPal ecosystem for other organizations as well. So that is something that we are working on. Without getting into too much details on there, this is where we are. So we are in the advanced maturity phase, and we are waiting for the next features, and we are keeping an eye out on what's happening in that space.
So AI as a whole, and I'd love your point of view here. Are we just getting started?
We are slightly ahead of the starting phase. I wouldn't say we are just getting started. I think some of these toolings will take time to mature compared to what we have seen in the software engineering space. And like if you think about Java, it took around 10 years to mature. And this we are in the similar phase right now where we are going to get some maturity towards these harnesses and all of those things that are happening with the agentic AI. So it will take some time, but the capabilities are there. I can see a lot of these use cases being built out and POCs being done to explain how we can leverage AI to perform a particular task. So those things are already happening in progress. Maybe the maturity and the productionization that is needed to run these agents safely in production, that needs a little bit more work. But it's already in progress. I'm seeing a lot of work being done in that area. So I wouldn't be surprised in a year or two, maybe we'll already be there.
And what does your role look like in 3 years? If you were to
Um,
guess, I know no one knows exactly, but what do you think, your gut feel? What does your role look like in 3 years?
So a lot of it is going to change from software engineering and writing code on a daily basis to becoming more of a system architect and managing a group of agents in the long run. So I'll be managing the context for these agents, and I can see some of that is already happening right now. So a lot of it is going to be instruction based. So I need to instruct these agents to do X and then verify their output. And then I need to instruct an agent B to do Y and verify the output and make sure that agent A and B work together. And then create more agents that can coordinate seamlessly and get a task done. And my role as a senior engineer or tech lead on the team would be to ensure that these agents keep building on top of these agents. They get bigger scope of work being done, and then basically just go from there.
Mm. And could an agent do what you just described?
Yes, typically, yes. So there is a concept called orchestrator. So all
Yeah.
the agents that you have built, individual agents, you can have an orchestrator on top of it that would manage a bunch of agents. And then you would have to build multiple different orchestrators to have them coordinate with each other. But what I've often found is that given a specific bounded context, they work really well when you have a narrow scope of work. But if the agents have a very broad scope of work, they tend to hallucinate. And that's where you need some human intervention to make sure that those issues don't happen in production. And you would want to decompose or build different orchestrators so that the scope is limited. And when there is a limited scope, they tend to work much better.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself an expert in AI, um, building agents, um, and figuring out how orchestration works at this point? It started off, 2 years ago, your journey with AI?
That's correct. Yeah. So right now I'm an expert orchestrator for our team. I'm enabling a lot of
Awesome.
different opportunities for our organization and allowing other engineers to create their own orchestration platform. And then also allowing other organizations to leverage the agents that we have built so that they don't have to do the heavy lifting or creating these agents from scratch, because
Mm.
these agents can be expensive to build and run, and it takes
Ah,
time to fine tune them and get them to a point where they are functional. So once we have done that, we obviously want to expose their capabilities to other organizations, and that's something that we are focusing on now. So yes, that is the charter that we have right now.
so uh, you mentor and teach as well?
Yes, that's correct. So I do mentor and teach fellow engineers that are there on our team. So that's part of the job that I have. And I also am part of several conferences like program committees and going out there reviewing papers and things like that. So that I'm always involved in those kind of initiatives as well, just so that I get to know what the latest things are coming out. Because sometimes within a single organization, you can be bubbled into that thought
Mm.
process, and then it's very hard to know what other folks are working on. So it's always good to have an eye out on everything that's happening across the industry, and then bringing some of that back to your day-to-day life, and then basically going from there.
Yeah. If you were to talk to somebody who's starting the journey that you started 2 years ago, who's starting the AI journey today
Mhm.
and wants to be an expert like you, what advice do you have for them? Someone in the software engineering world who's starting off now. They were doing something else, non AI related, and that this is what they want to do now. What would you
Uh,
advise?
so for someone who wants to do AI, definitely like look out for roles and opportunities that could help you do that. That's the easiest way to do it. But again, it's not for everyone. That everyone can come up with these opportunities or find these opportunities given the tight job market that we
Yeah,
have right now.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you cannot do any of these things. The other thing I would say is leverage the online forums and portal, like training courses and things like that, to keep yourself, up to date with what is happening in this space. So I know like there's a deeplearning.ai website from Andrew Ng. He's a recognized AI expert. He runs a lot of these mini tutorials. They are not that
Mm,
long. Each of the episode is like a few minutes, and it gives you like specific nuggets about the latest developments that are there in AI and how you can build projects. Like it's a real software engineering projects on top of it, and then go from there. So there are these. There's also Coursera, and there are a lot of these training materials that are out there. I know everybody learns at a different pace and different mediums. So for some reason, maybe reading a blog is something that is more beneficial. So keep an eye out on these engineering blogs from all the top companies like Netflix, Google, and all of those things. If that is something that doesn't work, you feel like you need more face-to-face interactions. Obviously, getting involved in technical conferences and attending them can be a huge value gain in terms of like what are some of the use cases that people are solving with AI and how I can bring that back to your day-to-day work. And having that perspective can be helpful because then you can propose some projects within your organization or work on your own projects in your free time to just get those skills in and work from there. I know some conferences have excellent workshops on getting someone
mm.
onboarded and just getting started with the AI tools that are available out there, and definitely leverage those as and when needed.
So, if people want to get hands-on AI experience, not sponsored by where they work,
Mhm.
but on their own time, they want to understand, get their hands dirty with AI, like you did. But you did it within your company. But if they want to do it on their own in their own time, what kind of setup do they need? Do they need some in terms of compute power? Do they need something in particular to just build things at home and get their hands
Oh,
dirty?
yeah. So most of these AI companies already offer free credits, and you can use those to build your own projects at home. And some of them are very generous. And I don't want to take the names, but some of them are very generous in
Yeah.
terms of the credits that they give, and it's good enough for your own personal projects. The other opportunity I have found in terms of getting credits, if you're running out of them, is to join hackathons. And
Mm,
through hackathons, you can get a lot of these credits for free, and you can work on the hackathon projects for sure. But as part of just the participation, sometimes they give out credits to all the participants, and then sometimes if you're a winner or runner up, you get more credits just for winning those competitions. So it's a
yeah.
double whammy over there, and then you can use those credits as you need to build your own projects.
And your journey is about a 2 year journey. Do you think where AI is now, people can really get to where you are faster?
Yes, definitely.
Mm,
The learning curve that we used to see in the pre-AI days is gone. I think it's a huge leveling field, and that is one of the areas where I think AI has kind of leveled the playing ground for everyone. So no matter how many years of experience you have within the industry, when you have an AI companion with you, you are at the same level. You can start from day one with all the knowledge that you need about the code base. Maybe not the business knowledge, but you definitely can contribute to the code base and go from there. So yes, you don't need any expert knowledge. Everything that you need, all the SME knowledge is available with the agent. Just need to prompt the agent for a specific information. It's going to look at the code base and give it to you.
that's awesome. Sohil, I'm sure that people were listening specifically on how to get into doing AI work and then how to become an expert at it and gain a lot from your advice. So thank you for sharing it so transparently, so openly. Um, and I wish you the best in your journey. You're going to go from an AI orchestrator to what's the next, what's your next level that or is that not even defined, or there's it's not even called anything now because it's so early?
Yeah, it's so early right now, and every week that goes by, there's always something new that comes in. So the problem that we were solving last week are no longer relevant today.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't know how this is going. It's a quick moving goalpost, so we are just trying to adapt to how things are changing.
Yeah. Yeah. So good luck on that journey, Sohail. You're courageous enough to just dig in, and you found yourself in a situation, maybe right place, right time, where you were able to experiment and learn, get your hands dirty, and which is the best way to learn. So good luck to you, and also kudos to you for giving your time to people, to mentor them, and to teach, and to get other people. Up to speed on how they can use AI. So thank you so much for your time, Sohil, and we'll be in touch. People can follow you on your work on LinkedIn. You're pretty active there, and we will stay in touch also. And I'll look forward to seeing your even more progress.
Sounds good. Thank you, Yusuf, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope all the listeners of this podcast learn a lot from this and are motivated to do their own projects in their own time, and then learn more about this new technology and hone it in their day-to-day life.
Awesome.